Good morning mga ka-FACEMASK! So today gagawa tayo ng anniversary review ng ating Geely Coolray Sport unit. So this is already the second episode of me doing a review of my unit, especially that few months back I actually did my first episode after using the car for a few months, and I have provided my likes and dislikes of the unit. So this time it's going to be a year of comprehensive review of the unit. And I hope that you like this, especially that a number of people have requested for this via social media and even here in YouTube. So, but before we get started, please do like this video and subscribe to my channel. And thank you for supporting, because right now we have grown from 0 to 2,500, close to 2,500 subscribers. And I'm really grateful to all of you for supporting my channel. So with that, let's get started. Alright, so the first one is combination siya ng sunroof and the aircon vent. So, unfortunately, walang aircon vent sa likod. Tas with the presence ng sunroof, it gets a little bit uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially the passengers at the back, because there were instances na medyo mainit sa likod and I had to increase the fan speed ng aircon, plus lower the temperature, so it gets uncomfortable sa harap because it becomes too cold. Tapos at the same time, if I had to adjust it based on my liking, medyo mainit naman sa likod. So that's the first one. I think before I mentioned that it could be, and right now medyo nagmamaterialize na yung ganong observation. It's not to a point that it becomes a disadvantage, but it is something that can get uncomfortable for situations na fully loaded yung kotse and tirik yung araw. So, alright, so the second one is the wind noise. This one, it's not so apparent, especially for me na music lover ako, and normally when I drive, I usually blast the music just so I get, not fully distracted, but I enjoy my ride. But if there are moments na I'm not playing any music, I switch off the radio and I don't play any music from Spotify or YouTube, I could actually hear some wind noise, especially when I'm reaching above 100 kilometers per hour. Very minimal yung instances na to because given the lockdown, I haven't had a chance to really go out of town for a number of times. But nonetheless, I kind of observe this for certain situations na high speed, tapos hindi ako nagpe-play ng music. May mga nabasa ako na it's because of the cap dun sa may window side, but I'm not really sure. I'm not very particular about it, but it's just that you can definitely hear the wind noise when you're very observant. So next one naman is yung wala siyang Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Though meron siyang QD link, but I have to be very honest, I may not be the most tech savvy, and there are instances talaga na hihirapan ako mag-connect sa QD link. For most of the time, I just use the Bluetooth. It's very difficult na mag-connect pa sa QD link, and I spent so much time in the past. So most of the time din naman, music lang yung what I care about, especially na wherever I go, I normally know already which route to go, and I don't normally play any music video or movies or anything like that, nor I don't need Waze or Google Maps. So it's not very imperative for me to use it. But nonetheless, medyo cumbersome talaga yung situation whenever I use QD Link. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. You can correct me if there were some life hacks in using QD Link, but it was very troubling for me to use QD Link in the past. So hopefully sa mga susunod na software updates sa infotainment ni Geely Coolray, there would be either Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. That's a wishful thinking. Alright, so the next one naman is yung metallic reflection whenever I'm driving at night. So I'm pretty sure this is an experience that a lot of my Geely Coolray owners would agree and may have experienced already in the past. But there were several times talaga that I could see the reflection ng metallic details sa loob ng kotse when I'm driving. So medyo distracting siya for a lot of times. Good thing meron namang camera, but at the end of the day, medyo mahirap din siya kasing tansyahin. So, I'm not sure what it's maybe dependent dun sa tint na pinili natin. I chose actually a medium tint for my windows. So maybe that's a factor. I honestly don't know, but it could get a little bit disturbing. Especially kung laging gabi ka nagda-drive, for example, night shift ka, or you normally go home at night already. So yun lang yung medyo scary part sa kanya. But it's not like it's dangerous, but you just would see the metallic details reflected on your side mirrors, side windows rather. Alright, the next one naman is yung experience ko ng konting ngalay whenever I'm driving. This one is being alleviated whenever I use the auto hold feature. I mentioned it in the past that it's a feature I definitely like and I use all the time. But for long drives, medyo nakakangalay din talaga siyang gamitin. I'm not sure if it has something to do with how tall and how far back my driver's seat should be. Normally kasi ang practice ko is that I press on the brake, as in full brake, and then I adjust the seat after which. But nonetheless, I'm only 5'6", pero nakikita ko pa rin nakausli ng konti yung legs ko, specifically my right leg. And for long drives, nakakangalay talaga siya. It's something that I've observed so many times. Pag nasa traffic, I use the auto hold feature, but if it's not, pag long drive, doon ko siya na-experience. It could be because it's a long drive, kaya siya nakakangalay. But it's something that I don't experience much sa isa kong kotse. I actually use another one, which is my Mazda CX-5. I don't experience that more often, but with the Geely Coolray for long drives, doon ko siya na-experience. So, for those who are owners of Geely Coolray as well, please let me know if you experience the same. But definitely, it's something that this is something that I want to highlight, the auto hold feature as well. It is definitely and probably my most favorite feature sa Geely Coolray amongst all of its technological features. So, alright, next one naman would be the fuel efficiency. So, based on my experience, nasa 8 to 10 kilometers per liter ang na-experience ko sa kanya. It's not something na very similar to what I experienced sa Mazda CX-5, especially na may Sky Active yung Mazda CX-5 ko. But sa Geely Coolray naman, it has its turbo engine, so it could be a factor. That's why I'm churning, just that about that figure. But nonetheless, it's not favorable for some, but for me, it's still acceptable. It's still decent. It could be my driving habits as well as a factor, but hopefully, as I continue doing my PMS, especially na sinusunod naman natin rigorously yung schedule, the fuel efficiency will improve. And I'm still, adjusting of my driving habits using the unit. For most of the time kasi I have a split of 80-20. 80% of the time I use it within Metro Manila, and then 20% pag yun yung sa out of town. But 8 to 10 for me is very decent. There's still a room for improvement, but it's a decent performance for me. Alright, so next one naman would be the built-in dashcam. It has nothing to do with the quality of the recording, but it's more of the recording cycle. I confirmed with Geely na it's not capturing all of your recordings up to a point that you exhausted your the capacity ng SD card that you use for the recording. Kasi I've experienced that I only use about 20% of the capacity ng SD card, and yung nag-kick in yung recording cycle. And as per Geely, the recording cycle is going to be 26 days or 30 days. Basta good for a month na recording, and then it will auto-delete or it will yung mapapalitan yung recording, matatabunan yung previous recordings mo. So for a lot of times this is helpful, but for those who are trying to, look back on their previous recordings, you actually need to pull out your SD card every 30 days or at least 26 days just to be sure. They couldn't give me an exact figure actually. But and then you can archive your recordings if you want to. But again, it could be cumbersome if you really want to track your recordings all the time. But if you're good with the recording cycle naman, it shouldn't be a problem. So this one is very linked to my next item. Kaya unfortunately, hindi ko siya nakuha yung recording ko about my next item. That's because of the recording cycle. Kaya siya naging part ng aking, feedback about the unit. So next one naman, as mentioned kanina, linked siya sa recording cycle. So unfortunately kasi hindi ko mahanap or hindi ko na ma-retrieve yung video that I wanted to use as a proof that I've experienced this. So it has something to do with the traction control or stability control ng kotse. Unfortunately, there was a typhoon late last year, and the pavement or the road I was driving on was wet, and it was rubberized because it was leading to my parking. So it's a parking building actually. And it was very scary because not necessarily super high speed, but I was pretty sure trying to get to my parking slot pretty quickly. And unfortunately, as I rev up, kasi paakyat siya eh, as I rev up, medyo I lost control of the car. It kind of, how shall I describe it? It was just drifting straight on, and I couldn't control, even with a huge amount of effort, I couldn't control it. And even with me braking the car, it took a while before it actually fully stopped. And I'm not really sure whether it was my fault, but it is something that was pretty scary. I'm not saying na the car is dangerous or it has its own life, katulad ng mga issues na sinasabi about other cars, but it was pretty scary. It happened to me 3 times as I kasi nasa mataas na floor yung parking slot ko. So I kept on going on circles for multiple times, and I've experienced that 3 times as I rev up or as I go up to the different floors. So hindi ko siya ma-describe sa totoo lang. I would have hoped na nakuha ko talaga yung video just so you would see how scary the situation was. Though after that incident, hindi naman siya nangyari ulit. It's not something that I've experienced with my Mazda CX-5. I do almost the same speed whenever I'm going up to these floors. And the stability is pretty consistent, unlike with the Geely Coolray. Maybe a few of you could enlighten me as to what could have potentially happened, especially na wala akong video that I could reference the situation with. But nonetheless, hopefully you guys will just need to be very, very careful, similar to what I'm doing right now. Hindi na rin naman siya existing as of right now, and I became very, very careful na rin whenever I'm revving up to my parking to the parking building. So alright, so the last one sa ating first part ng Geely Coolray anniversary review, that would be the part availability. And based on my research, it takes about 1 to 2 months for the parts to arrive, especially if those aren't on hand, kasi they are being ordered in China, and given the lockdown situation, plus the logistics factor of ordering these items or these parts, that's the time frame I was able to arrive with. I have an example, which is ordering a front bumper, and it took about 2 months before they arrived. But nonetheless, yung service naman of doing the replacement, once the parts are available, it's pretty quick. Within the day, once you're scheduled, they can actually get it installed. So the service is definitely stellar, but it is really that part availability that's the main issue. So 1 to 2 months, it could be long for some. For others, it's still acceptable given the situation, but I hope that they can still improve in terms of the timeliness, especially that Geely is growing exponentially. And as far as I know, lahat kasi ng parts are being delivered to the main branch, which is the Geely North EDSA branch. So aside from that, if nasa ibang lugar pa kayo, it gets distributed pa to other casas or dealers dealer location. So it could be longer for those na hindi sa main branch nagpapa-service. So I hope that helped for a lot of people to be enlightened about its parts availability, especially na after getting the car, the next one would be that area of whether if something has to be replaced, will there be parts available and how quick that is. So based on my research, again, 1 to 2 months for the parts to be available once they're not on hand sa mismong branch ninyo or sa main branch ng Geely. Alright, so that's it mga ka-face mask. That's the first part of my anniversary review of my Geely Coolray Sport unit. And I hope that you watch out for the second part of the video. And I hope that you keep on supporting my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like this video. Provide your comments if there are anything that you would like me to answer or anything that you'd like me to feature in my next video. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And thank you and God bless. Stay safe everyone.